My parents were always open with me, 26 male, and my siblings, 27 male, 23 male, and 22 female, about the fact they had another kid before us and gave them up for adoption. But our parents always said they had a son and that we had a brother given up for adoption. That was something they were very clear on. Not only did they say that, but they built my sister up as their only little girl a lot. They'd make it a thing for her to be proud of. She was adored by the family. She was their special little girl, their one and only. She was our only sister, and we'd all be a little extra protective of her, as her older brothers were. 5 months ago, we found out that they lied when their daughter tracked us down and said she wanted to get to know us and be a part of the family. My parents were so excited. They were hardly able to contain themselves. My sister freaked out and refused to meet her. She brought up our parents' lies and said she was never really as special as they claimed, and told them she would never accept a sister and would never accept being made less special. Our parents acted so confused about her reaction. They tried reassuring her, encouraging her to meet their daughter. It was a mess. My brothers and I have met this new sister. I met her once, and I believe it's the same for my brothers. I felt no instant connection to her. It was just awkward. She was disappointed she didn't get to meet all of us, and she came on very strongly when we met her, making the awkwardness more awkward. I think she was expecting us to be way more excited than we were, and a lot more into the idea of being a family with her. The fact that my sister refused to even meet her was something she mentioned 10 different times before she met us. Apparently, she still brings it up, which made my parents bring it up several times to me and my brothers, I'm guessing. The other day, they were saying how upset they were that my sister refused to come to my mom's birthday party because they had invited our other sister. They were saying how they thought she'd handle it better and be excited. I told them it was their fault for lying our whole lives, which they admitted they did. Our other sister isn't a trans woman, and my parents knew she was a girl, and then hyped my sister up to be their only daughter. I told them the way they did it probably made her feel like she lost their love when it was no longer the truth in her world. My parents told me I shouldn't blame them. They also accused me of putting my sister before them and their daughter, and how clear it is whose side I'm on based on the lack of warmth for their daughter. They also said it was unfair to blame them for the actions of an adult. Am I the idiot? Edit. We have no idea why they lied about the gender. They refused to answer the question and have not addressed any real good reason why they lied about it, when they were sort of honest with us about giving up a kid. Not the idiot. Holy crap, I mean, how would your parents think that they aren't the ones to blame? When she grew up like this, they chose to make a huge deal out of your little sister being their only daughter, making her so special. I don't have any idea why they saw fit to lie about their eldest child's gender, or to lean in so hard to worshiping your little sister. Maybe they never expected the oldest to make an experience. Even so, they made their bed by raising her to feel like their special little girl, and now they're kind of favoring the feelings of the eldest girl. This has to be an absolute mind mess to her, and you all too. The older sister's even harping on the whole sister issue, clearly inherited the Delulu. This is a lot more serious than finding out Santa isn't real. Your little sister probably feels like she was doted on as a replacement, which sounds absolutely gut-wrenching. I really feel for her. Please don't hold it against your new older sister, but also, it's okay as a sibling to let her know, if she brings it up to you, that coming in hot and expecting everyone to be thrilled was overly optimistic. And you're fine with telling your parents they're the ones who set this up for disaster, and as they've sown the wind, they now reap the whirlwind. I feel bad for the other sister as well. Either way, she's blood but was just adopted out. I can see both sides, and it still points to the parents being total idiots. They just kept having kids. What are we up to, 5 known? Maybe more since this unknown sibling was found. For goodness sake, their parents need to come fully clean on their past mistakes and own it. They're trying to force something without even half the information, and it's causing more damage that's irreversible. My parents aren't together, but they shared custody of me, 26 male, while I was growing up. Dad is my bio dad. Mom is my adoptive mom. She and my dad met when I was only a baby, and she adopted me when I was 18 months old. The woman who gave birth to me didn't want me, and Dad was alone with me until he met Mom. I never had a relationship with my birth giver, and I never considered her my mother or one of my moms. I have one mom, and she's all I've ever needed in a mom. My dad met his wife when I was 6. She moved in with him when I was 7, and they got married when I was 8. I never liked her. She tried to be close to me, but did so by being dismissive of my mom. She made it sound like I should discard mom and let her, dad's wife, be my new mom, since neither was bio-related to me. She told me it was better for parents to be together, and I couldn't be too attached to my mom, given she didn't give birth to me or breastfeed me. I was always cold and distant from my dad's wife. I can be civil, but I never let her in, and I never considered her a part of my family. I merely tolerate her existence and her presence. She never stopped trying to get her own place in my life as a mom, but it never happened. She's not my mom, and if my dad died tomorrow, or if she and dad divorced, I would cut her from my life so fast her head would spin. I have never hidden the fact that I feel this way either. I've also called her out for minimizing my mom's role. As an adult, I don't see her very often, which works great for me. But now I'm getting married, and she's decided that she's going to try to be one of the moms of the groom. I told her it wasn't happening. And then she flipped when she found out my mom and I were doing a mother-son dance. She insisted that I needed to dance with the 2 moms who would be at my wedding. I told her I was dancing with my only mom. She argued that I have 3, and 2 of them raised me, and those 2 should be treated equally since one isn't more to me than the other. My very strong reply was that there are no other moms, and my mom has been my one and only mom, raising me since I was 6 months old, and that her attitude about my mom is exactly why she was never considered one of the moms or a mother figure at all. I told her she had not earned and did not deserve a dance, and to get the heck over herself. This is the first time she realized I don't love or care about her at all, and she cried to my dad. Both of them think I was cruel and needlessly harsh, when all she's ever done is try to love me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Sounds like that talk was long overdue. And her surprise at hearing it? Come on. If she hadn't figured out your feelings after almost 20 years, she clearly doesn't care one bit about what you feel. I suspect that she only wants this dance so she won't look bad at the wedding. It's not about you, but about appearances. Yep, she never did care, or she wouldn't have emotionally abused him. What she said about his mom was shameful, selfish, and terrible. Where was dad in this? He should have nipped that in the bud. Your mom gave you the unconditional love and support you deserve and need, so she's the one you honor. Good for you. Why do so many stepmoms try to butt into areas where they aren't welcome? Demanding to be treated as a bio mom is a deal breaker right there. It's your wedding. Dance with whoever you want to dance with. My male 51, wife 48, and I have 2 children, Jake male 23 and Jess female 18. Although they had the same upbringing, Jake sadly surrounded himself with the wrong people during his late teenage years and made some bad life decisions. Since he was around 17, he's suffered from substance abuse issues and alcohol dependency. He's been through counseling on more than one occasion, and I've lost count of the number of times that either my wife and I have had to make personal sacrifices to go and tend to him. He's currently living in a recovery housing program where we hoped he'd see improvements. This has caused understandable issues for Jess. My wife and I have missed hockey games and choir performances because we had to tend to Jake. We try to make it up to her at the time, but I don't think missing important milestones really makes up for it. It's heartbreaking for me personally. Jake has been doing better lately, and he hasn't had any relapses or issues for the past few months. Jess's graduation was the other day, and my wife and I had tickets and couldn't wait. She's off to college, graduating with a great GPA, and we're really proud of her. However, only a couple of hours before the graduation, we received a call from the staff at Jake's housing program who said that he had a relapse incident and was in a really bad way. My wife was hysterical and immediately started telling me we had to go there and help. I refused. I said we'd missed enough events in Jess's life, and I wasn't missing her graduation. Although my wife told me how sad she was to miss it, Jake's health and well-being wouldn't take priority. I wasn't changing my stance. She got increasingly agitated and said she'd go by herself. I called a cab and went. I took the car and watched Jess's graduation. It was one of the proudest days of my life. But when I saw Jess at the end, I could tell she was visibly upset that her mom wasn't there. I explained, and you could tell her frustration. My wife made it to our celebratory dinner later, and she apologized, but the mood was sour. The incident with Jake was serious, but not a life-threatening emergency, and he's been admitted into treatment. My wife gave me the cold shoulder later, saying how we should have been on the same page, been there for support, and that I'd been selfish. I disagreed, saying she'd been selfish in this scenario and tainted Jess's moment. This continued for a while and I slept on the couch. I still feel I made the right decision, but I know I hurt my wife. And Jake's recovery is obviously of paramount importance as well. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. While I'm sympathetic to all four of you in your respective positions, I think your wife insisting you both should have gone to your son is terribly unfair to your daughter. If neither of you had been there, it sounds like she would have been devastated. At least she and your son at least had a parent there. It could be argued that your son could have waited if he was with medical staff. To be honest, your wife is out of line. His relapse was timed to interfere with her celebration, and he got half of what he wanted when your wife ran to him. You both could benefit from Al-Anon. Change will not happen until you, as the parents, change how you deal with your issues. I was thinking that as well. His timing was absolutely deliberate, and OP's wife is rewarding his behavior. She does exactly what Jake wants, drops everything and comes running. It's sad she doesn't realize her daughter can only be dropped so many times before she breaks, and the relationship becomes irreparable. OP's wife needs to stop enabling Jake and start being there for Jess before she gets fed up with this. I hope she didn't argue about Jake having priority that day in front of Jess. I, 26 female, have always loved the aesthetics of the Regency era, and I wanted to incorporate it into my wedding. So I decided that my bridesmaids would wear empire waist dresses like the ones seen in Bridgerton or Pride and Prejudice. Nearly all my bridesmaids loved this idea. However, one of my bridesmaids, 27, is mad at me for insisting that they wear empire waist dresses. She claims that the dress looks unflattering due to her body proportions. She has broad shoulders, a large chest, large arms, a small waist, and thin legs. She claims that due to the high waistline and her large chest, her waist appears much larger than it actually is. She also says that the type of dress emphasizes her thick arms. She told me that those dresses make her look fat and triggered her past body dysmorphia and insecurities. She asked me if she could modify her dress to define her figure, but I said all the bridesmaids had to wear the same dress, and I didn't want her to stand out. She said I was being selfish and that I wasn't considering other people's body types. I said she was acting extremely entitled. It's my wedding, and I shouldn't have to cater to her insecurities. Am I the idiot for making my bridesmaid wear a dress that makes her look fat? I'll never understand the idea that bridesmaids have to wear the same exact style of dress when everyone has different body types. What looks great on a size 2 might not look great on a size 14. What looks amazing on a taller figure might look strange on someone of a shorter stature. I can understand a color preference for photos, but why force everyone into a box? You probably picked your wedding dress based on how beautiful you felt in it. Bridesmaids are supposed to be the most important women in your life. They're not hired backup dancers for your big day. Don't you want them to feel excited and beautiful too? I agree with your bridesmaid, 100%. She shouldn't have to spend an entire day feeling upset and insecure because you want everyone in such a strict uniform. You are the idiot in this situation. I'm baffled by people who are willing to mess up friendships over a party. Obviously, the friend doesn't want to stand in front of a bunch of people and look awful in a bunch of pictures. It would be humiliating. This weird wedding obsession is just so strange. The question is, how much do you like your friend? Pick your battles, girl, and keep your friends close. I've known Ron as a casual acquaintance for a few years, but we started dating about 2 weeks ago. I'm 19 and he's 20. He has a full-time job and only pays his mom 40 pounds weekly for bills and food. His only other expense is his car, so he has a lot of disposable income, but he doesn't save. He blows it all on nonsense, like gadgets he never uses again. So much so, he's overdrawn by $2K. I'm a full-time student who babysits on the side, and I'm frugal. I've managed to save $3K. It has taken me about 2 or 3 years to save that. Tonight I mentioned that some friends of mine are going on holiday in September, and I'll join them. Ron asked me, "How will you pay for that? You don't have a job apart from babysitting." I said, "I have $3K in savings, so I'll use some of that." Suddenly, Ron got a really calculating look in his eyes and just outright asked me to pay off his overdraft. He said he would pay me back £200 a month. I said he should just pay off his own overdraft at £200 a month. He said, but then I'd have to pay interest. I refused to lend him the money for several reasons. He's a spendthrift, and I don't believe he would repay me. If he can't set aside £200 a month to pay off his own overdraft, he's not going to set aside $200 a month to pay me back. I earn a small amount of interest on my savings. Why should I lose that to save him interest? What if I have an emergency or an opportunity like my upcoming birthday? I then won't have any money to pay for it. And I didn't say this one to him, but I also don't want to lend him the money because he has such nerve. We've casually known each other, friends of friends, for a few years. Still, we're only really getting to know each other properly, and I just think it's rude and selfish to ask. It's really made me see him in a different light, and I don't like what I see. Anyway, he thinks I'm selfish just because the money is just sitting there, and I don't really need it. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I don't care if you had $100K in savings. A boyfriend is not entitled to come to you to pay off the debts that he incurred through frivolous spending. A 2-week boyfriend has the gall to demand 2/3 of your savings? He's part of the catch and release program. You don't need your money. If you don't, then no one else does either. The only selfish person in this scenario is him thinking he can take other people's money for his debts. 2 weeks? They've been dating for 2 weeks? And this plunk wants her to pay off his debts because he's an impulsive git who cannot live within his means? I mean, really, the absolute balls of some people. Insane. Catch and release indeed. Or just kick him out of the pond and let the idiot flap around on the grass. Sometimes I wish I had the confidence to be as brazen as OP's boyfriend. What would it be like to go through life that way? He seems like the kind of fella that would pay you $200 the first month. Then the excuses would roll in about why he can't pay this month. He'll do this until you get tired of him and dump him, and that'll be an $1,800 breakup. OP really needs to consider whether she can see a future with this boy, even a short one. I get that they're young, but finances are going to be an issue between them real soon.